We are going to speak about the topic inline functions. What is inline functions? Inline function is an inbuilt function in C++. So it is an already inbuilt function. It is not an user-defined function. Those functions which are declared inside the class are automatically defined as an inline function. So we need not to separately declare this is an inline function. We have to mention just the keyword this is an inline function. The function which are static means the value of the variable inside the functions are not dynamic. Only those functions will be accepted by inline function. Thus the warning will be conducted by the compiler. So if the function is static means inside all the functions they are not done data and dynamic. So only those functions we are accepted by the inline functions. Otherwise it gives the warning by the compiler. Looping statements are not considered in the inline function. Looping, that while loop, do loop, these functions, mostly the conditional statements are not allowed, are not considered in the inline function. C++ provides inline function to reduce the function call overhead. First we can see what is an inline function. What it does is, that is many functions, that is if we give the function many functions, they will be a function overloading, but by using inline functions these function called overhead, these all it is get reduced. An inline function is a function that is expanded when it is called. In normal function, if we call a function, it will be get executed. But in inline function, if we call a function, what all code statements written in that function call, it gets expanded in the line. When the inline function is called, whole code of the inline gets inserted or substituted at the pointer. So in normal function, if we call the function a be implemented, it will get access. But here, what all the functions you are writing, everything it is inserted or substituted in the function. So these work substitutions all done by the compiler during the compile time. Inline function may increase the efficiency if it is. See, by this example, we can replace inline function in C++. Inline void function, this is a function body. Code inserted at the function called void main function. So what we are writing here, function, if we call in the function whole thing, so this function body, inside this function body, what all are you wrote? Function body, number of statements, 3 to 4 statements will be there. Those all 3 to 4 statements will be inserted or substituted in this here. Syntax for it is normally the keyword inline you have to give. Inline as usual return type function name with the parameters function code. So this what all are we are writing in that code, function code, it all be substituted in that. So see the difference between the normal function and the inline function. This is a normal function, everyone knows. We are going to start. What will be main function body, code will be there, my function, many codes are there. So flow control transfer, what we are doing, that what is my function, that flow control goes to the my function. What is that in body of the function statement, 3 to 4 statements will be there, it is going to be executed. But in inline function, what is going to be done? When the function is called my function, the content is fully inserted or substituted in main function itself. There the control flows goes to the function. But in inline function, when you call that function, what all written in that statement, it gets substituted here. The code fully gets inserted. That's why this is known as an inline function. So by this what we are doing is, so same operation, same input, everything is there. What is the different and what will be the advantages is time consuming. So in normal function, we are going to flow control is transferring to the function call while function call. So some push and pop operations are implemented during the compile time. So to push and the pop operation consume some time. In inline function, this time is not consumed. So this is fast execution. So those push and pop operations are reduced. So going to the function call, after that reading the data inside, it takes time. But inline, when you call the function, the code is itself substituted here. So what is the operation we are going to implement in inline functions directly? In inlining is only a request to the compiler, not a command. The compiler can ignore the request for inlining. So it is not a command. That is, if we are using an inline function, the compiler automatically does this job. The compiler may not perform inlining. So in what all circumstance compiler won't use the inline function is, suppose in looping statement for while do while, this can't be used. Inline function can be used, cannot be used if the function contains static variables, means inline function cannot be used. Functions are recursive uh, if the function return type is other than void and the return type does not exist in the function body. If your function contains switch or go to statement, so in all these functions, inline functions cannot be used. For while do while cannot be used. If the variable is static variable cannot be used. If the function is recursive, inline is not possible. And if the return type other than the void means only can be used and does not use a function body. The function contains switch go to statements cannot be used. Advantages: surely it speeds up because to it reduces the function call overhead. So normally by normal function call, it takes time for the push and pop operations to call after read what all our function body is there, but surely it reduces the time here, so it speeds up the compile time execution. It saves overhead of variables push pop on the stack when function call happens. It saves overhead of return call from the function. So it increases locality of retrieve by increasing the, so everything that it all speed up. Disadvantages: it increases the executable size due to the code expansion. So in function body, 4 to 5 lines are again repeated in the main function. So executable size gets expansion. This will be the disadvantages. After that, C++ inlining is resolved at compile time, which means if you change the code of the inline function, you would need to recompile all the code using it. Make sure it will be updated. So for updation of a code, it is not possible. So during the compile, after the compile, if we need to update, we have to recompile again this when we use the inline functions. When used in a header, it makes your header file larger with information which uses just not. So if used in header, this will be a drawback. As mentioned above, it increases the executable size, which will cause trashing in memory. More page fault bringing. Yes, surely by trashing this, the executable code becomes enlarged. Simple example, we are using the inline function here. Inline integer cube function, we are going to say integer s, and here return s star s star s cube function. In main function, we are going to print cout the cube of 3 is cube of 3. So automatically when we call that function, what it does, so inside that cube function, what we wrote, return s star s star s, this code will be copied here. It need not to be go and call inside the execution. So as soon as we see this function name, it automatically what copies the code here, and the output is printed as cube of 3 is 27.